The Subcommittee on Joint Capital Outlay will come to order. Would the clerk please take attendance?
Chair Price.
Here.
Representatives Steckloff. Present. Brixey. Here. O'Neill. Pori. Wilson. Here. Alexander. Here. Slaw. Present. Steele. Here. Senator McDonald-Rivet, co-chair. Here. Senators Irwin. Here. McCann. McMorrow. Here. Camilleri. Here. Santana. Demus. Here. Bumstead. Here. Heisenberg. Here. Madam Chair, you do have a quorum.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We are just beginning our process, and we're grateful to everybody who came to provide testimony and to listen to what is before us. So, Representative Steckloff moves to adopt the minutes from the March 15th meeting, and without objection, so ordered, the minutes are adopted. So first, we are going to hear from Austin Scott with the House Fiscal Agency to brief us on HB 4238, which seeks to codify the recommendations of the Natural Resources Trust Fund Board. Thank you, Mr. Scott.
Thank you. My name is Austin Scott. I'm a fiscal analyst with a nonpartisan House Fiscal Agency. I'm going to be speaking to the bill that's before the subcommittee, House Bill 4238, Supplemental Appropriations Bill that will provide appropriations for natural resources, Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund supported public recreation projects. This subcommittee in recent weeks at your last meeting heard some background information and historical information about what are commonly known as trust fund projects, trust fund board recommended projects. So I won't retread that ground, but I will make reference to the fact that essentially we're dealing with public recreation projects. The supplemental that's before you and each supplemental of this nature on an annual basis is providing funding for a couple of big categories, I'll say, the acquisition of land for public recreation and the development of land and facilities for public recreation. Most of these are grants to local units of government. There are a handful that are of projects that are funding for state facilities. So I'll call your attention to the House Fiscal Agency summary of the bill 4238, which is before each member of the subcommittee. If you see there on the front page, there's some summary information, and I'll call your attention to the appropriation that's before you, $23.3 million from the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund, $0 in general fund are included in the bill. In the text summary you see there, you'll see some specifics on numbers, amount of money made available, percentages of acquisition and development projects. But speaking in general terms, we're looking at 45 projects. 15 of those projects recommended for funding were land acquisition projects or purchasing projects, purchasing land for public recreation. 30 of the projects that are recommended for funding are what are called development projects, which again are the development of public land, be it local ownership or state ownership, for the purpose of public recreation. So park facilities is one example of that. There is a description of each of those 45 projects that are recommended for funding in the summary that you have before you, so you can see how much each project is projected to cost, or at least the appropriation that's included in the bill for each project. If you'll flip over with me to the back, the last thing I'll call your attention to before returning to the chair, the final page, page 14, so the back of the summary, you'll see there a quick grid overview or summary of the projects we're talking about. Again, we're looking at about 45 projects. 7 of them have state of Michigan ownership. Most of them, 38 out of 45, are locally owned. The appropriation in question is $23.3 million, and you see the total cost including match. And I'm happy to field questions at the chair's discretion. Thank you.
Yes, questions for Mr. Scott. Rep. Steele.
Thank you. I didn't raise my hand, Madam Chair. So I just have a real quick question. If you could explain just the way the legislation was voted on a couple years ago on the excess revenues for being able to do these projects in excess of 800 million. And do you know what the value after these expenditures of what might be in that a reserve fund for additional projects? And one last question is how you pick which project gets deemed as one of the 45. Thank you.
I'd like to address the first question first, the last question first. The Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund Board reviews applications for funding and makes a recommendation to the legislature by letter for projects to be funded. The Trust Fund Board, we heard voices from the Trust Fund Board and the department at the last meeting of the subcommittee. They receive those applications, they score those applications, they then submit a letter to the legislature in December. This year's letter was dated November 14th of 2022. And recommend the projects, and the bill before you reflects those recommendations. There are certain scoring criteria that's decided by the Trust Fund Board. The Trust Fund Board, as with other boards, is appointed by the governor with a review and consent provided by the Michigan Senate, and they recommend to the legislature projects for funding. So there is a ranking criteria where they assign point values for different project characteristics, and that's provided by the Trust Fund Board. There was a change in the process for supporting public recreation. I'll say very generally speaking, there was a measure on the ballot in the general election of 2020 that changed the percentage of money made available for acquisition and for development projects. Essentially, and you'll see this on page 2 of the summary, at the top of page 2, it starts there in the text. The Michigan Constitution requires that not less than 25% of the amount made available for these projects be expended for acquisition projects, and not less than 25% be made available for development projects. So the change that was approved by voters almost 3 years ago now made it so that 25% for acquisition and 25% for development projects, they mirror each other. So you'll find that there's at least a quarter of the money goes towards acquisition and at least a quarter of the money goes towards development. Another change that was made, approved by voters in 2020, was where this revenue is destined for once the trust fund reaches its cap, or once the State Park Endowment Fund reaches its cap. So the revenue source we're dealing with here is royalties, rental payments paid to the state for the extraction of what are called non-renewable resources on state land. So minerals, oil drilling rights, those kinds of things. Organizations pay the state for the right to extract those resources off of state land. The state receives the revenue from those royalties, those leases, those rental payments that are paid to the state. That revenue flowed to this trust fund until it reached its cap 12 years ago of $500 million. Since 2011, that revenue flows into what's called the Michigan State Park Endowment Fund, which does provide support for state park facilities. The way the Constitution reads, that revenue flow will continue until the State Park Endowment Fund reaches $800 million. Right now, it's a little under $325 million, so it's a little less than halfway there. Projections are that it's going to take another few decades to reach that $800 million cap. The change that was made by voters 3 years ago on the ballot-approved question is that revenue, once the State Park Endowment Fund hits its cap, will then flow back into the trust fund, which is capped at this point. So when that time comes, the revenue for the extraction of those resources will go back into the trust fund, and it will begin to build on an annual basis with that annual revenue flowing in. The extent to which it will grow will depend on market conditions like the price of these resources, market prices of these resources, and the extraction of these resources. That's another few decades off, but prior to the approval of this ballot question, there wasn't any word in the Constitution as to where that revenue would go once the State Park Endowment Fund hit its cap. So that's another change that was made in 2020.
Okay, thank you very much for your time today, Mr. Scott. Let's see, we've got Senator McDonald-Rivet moves to refer House Bill 4238 to the Committee on Appropriations. Would the clerk please call the roll?
On the motion to refer House Bill 4238 to the Committee on Appropriations with recommendation, Chair Price,
Yes.
Representatives Steckloff.
Yes.
Brixey. Yes. O'Neill. Yes. Pori. Wilson.
Yes.
Alexander.
Yes.
Slaw. Steele. Yes. McDonald-Rivet.
Yes.
Irwin. McCann. McMorrow. Camilleri. Santana. Dumoose. Bumstead. Heisinger. Madam Chair, you have 16 yeas, no nays, no pass. House Bill 4238 is referred to the Committee on Appropriations.
Thank you. Great. So moving on to the next order of business, we will hear a presentation from Mike Gavin, President of Delta College. Thank you.
Good afternoon, senators and representatives. Thank you for allowing me the time to talk to you about a renovation project that we're hoping to get underway at Delta College. Little context, real quickly, at Delta College, we serve 3 major counties, Midland, Saginaw, and Bay. We take very seriously the role that we play in elevating the lives of all people in those areas as a result of the education that we provide. In each of those 3 areas, we have a heavy amount of poverty. Those of you who know Midland may know that it's a pretty well-off area in the city, but the rural area of Midland is very rural and has a good amount of people who are living below the poverty line. Saginaw is in the city of, very heavily impoverished with a heavy amount of African American and Hispanic people, and Bay City and Bay County both have a significant amount of Alice population and poverty, people living in poverty as well. The project that we have and we're putting in front of you today is focused on renovating an already existing space in our information and technology and computer science area of the college. The reason I give you the context that I just offered you is this renovation of this space is part of a bigger plan for us to ensure that we're serving the counties that we provide education to in terms of getting them access to a better life through getting well-paying jobs. And these are the areas, some of the industries that we have partnerships with that already exist for those who would get education in this wing. The wing already does exist. We already have information and technology. However, with the CHIPS Act coming down the pike, we and SK Siltron, as well as Hemlock Semiconductor, right in our area, we believe that some of the learning that we will be doing through curriculum revision and will be offering in this wing will also serve those industries well and subsequently offer good paying jobs to populations that we're doing intentional outreach to that had not necessarily been served in the past through Delta College. Just to give you some context of what this looks like, we had some members of the committee come recently to experience. I like to use the word experience because it has an odor to it that I want to emphasize because it needs that kind of renovation. But we are not necessarily talking about a significant build out here. We're talking about already existing space and thinking about the ways in which the space is currently constructed, which is almost 5 decades old. And you will see that included in the renovation project is inserting HVAC systems that would be connected to our central HVAC system, asbestos removal, and all aspects of our interior electrical and interior work that is done in terms of infrastructure. The K-wing, the circle here, that indicates really the sector of the building that we are trying to renovate. Some other things that I'll just highlight and underscore for you. Thinking about what we have seen from our students as the major barriers to their success, those things are outside of the classroom generally. I'm sure you all know, actually I know you all know, one of the major elements that we know that our students are suffering with is mental health, and that is part and parcel of that is a lack of ability to connect. So we've put some places for them to gather here and talk about the disciplines that they are learning there. But we also, and this is probably more important for the economy of the region, in the reconstruction of space that you see here, we've begun to include more seats in the classrooms, which will allow us to build enrollment. We're already not necessarily able to schedule enough classes to meet the demand. So this will allow us to do so, and subsequently serve both the student needs and the region's needs in terms of IT, cybersecurity, and hopefully through some of the CHIPS Act semiconductors curriculum that we'll be creating. You will see that these are the major already existing disciplines that we would be finding space for. Let me restate that. These are disciplines that we already teach in the area. The experience that you would have if you did not come and you looked at our space as it exists was we have traditional college desks. We're teaching cybersecurity in with hard drives on top and cords running up to the ceiling. Our students are actually some of the best in the state in terms of their cybersecurity preparedness, but that is, you don't look at that space and think this is top-notch cybersecurity work or classroom. So really what we're trying to do is have the space also just catch up with the times. Couple other things that are important for you to know. That we also have a business administration program that will be running out of this space. It already exists there again, but we can also increase the seats and the capacity as a result of increasing the footprint of the area, the classroom space. And I already talked about the asbestos removal. Couple other things that are important. There's only a little bit of space that we're going to bump out in the K-Wing, and that will be a little bit where students could meet and have a gathering space, which Delta sort of lacks, to be honest, except for in our cafeteria. But it's a minimal space that's more of a build-out. Although we're the best community college in the state, I'm talking to my, we were number 2 on the list. And I believe one of the reasons that we scored really high is that this particular project is really focused on the economy of the region and making sure that students can get the education they need to get good jobs. And I think the other part is we have the money, our portion of the money actually more than that portion of money that's required. We're willing to pony up. And we are basically shovel-ready should we be so lucky to have the appropriation for the cost of the building. And that is my presentation for you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for keeping to your time limit without me even needing to remind you. Very grateful for that.
I do my best.
Questions from, yes, Senator McDonald-Rivet.
Thank you so much for being here. I did take that tour. I did smell that smell. It's not great. You referenced the CHIPS Act and the curriculum that's you're in the process of creating related to the semiconductor, and I just want you to talk a little bit more about that because I think it's being able to draw down the federal dollars and be able to put our region in a position to advance on that, I think is really important.
So thank you for asking that because that was a note that Pam Clark, my right hand, told me to say something about and I forgot. I'm actually serving on the MEDC think tank, if you will, for how the CHIPS Act will affect Michigan. We know, for instance, Delta College, one of Delta College's role will be to create fast pathways for all kinds of students. And by all kinds, I mean we're in heavy conversations with K through 12 in Saginaw Bay and Midland to not only help students understand what a technician is. That would be our role. Accelerated pathways to technicians in semiconductor, but also make it seem fun or something that somebody would want to do. The think tank that I'm serving on is in the process of developing that curriculum. One of the things, to your point though, that we discovered yesterday, or verified yesterday I should say, is that we already have the curriculum at Delta to create the pathways for the technician. We just need to create 2 more courses. So it's nice that we're on the think tank because we are going to be at Delta one of the major institutions thinking about those fast pathways, but we also have developed partnerships with Michigan State and Northern Michigan for any kind of engineering pathway that would have to occur to help out or to serve as pathways for the CHIPS Act. Yep.
Thank you. Seeing no further questions, next we will hear from Stacy Beeler, Vice President and Chief Public Affairs and Communications Officer at Grand Valley State University.
Good afternoon. On behalf of President Philomena Mantella and the entire Board of Trustees of Grand Valley State University, I am honored to have this opportunity to present you with information today about Grand Valley's submission for capital outlay. As mentioned, my name is Stacy Beeler. I am the Vice President and Chief Public Affairs and Communications Officer for Grand Valley State University, and it is my pleasure to serve our learners, our faculty and staff, and our community, and frankly, the entire state of Michigan as part of Grand Valley's leadership team. It's been less than a year that I have been part of the Grand Valley team, but as a first-generation college student myself, I was called to do this work at this place, at this time, because I know firsthand the impact that higher ed can have on a person's life. And it's with that context I share some detail and my abundance of enthusiasm about Grand Valley's capital outlay request for funding the Blue Dot Center for Talent, Technology, and Transformation. Before I dive deeply into the details about the vision and the plan for Blue Dot, let me speak a bit about why I believe Grand Valley is the right place and now is the right time for this investment. Grand Valley is a bit of an infant among the state's public universities, but our comparatively short 63-year history, Grand Valley has consistently served our state and its learners with high value and low cost. Grand Valley consistently appears at the bottom half of public universities in our state for cost and the top quarter of those same public universities for graduation rates. Once those students graduate, 90+% of them are employed or are continuing their education, and even better, 84% of those graduates stay right here in Michigan and contribute to our communities and to our economy. I know as a state we are fighting against brain drain. At Grand Valley, we focus on brain gain and see it as our duty to build the talent for Michigan. And with the creation of Blue Dot, we will be able to flood the pipeline of talent and amplify the brain gain for our state. As we focus on talent, it is important for you to know that Grand Valley knows how to work with industry. We have decades-long relationships with key corporate partners for experiential learning, co-ops, research and job placement for our students and graduates, and recently we have redoubled those efforts, sitting side by side with industry leaders in healthcare, technology, engineering, as we co-create learning and experience pathways for our students, their future employees. We also excel at collaborating with community. Grand Valley was created by the community and for the community. And since 1960, our outreach, our impact, and our intentionality has expanded that community well beyond West Michigan. Grand Valley students come from every single county in the state, and we are intentional about the invitation to come become a learner at Grand Valley. Whether you're from Berkeley or Kalamazoo, Bay City or Traverse City, Marquette or Sault Ste. Marie, and everywhere in between, you should be a Laker. The 22-23 entering class of Lakers showed diversity well beyond the geography, and it was the most diverse class in our institution's history. Recently, Grand Valley also was awarded with the Seal of Excellencia in Education and is the only predominantly white institution in the country to receive this designation as evidence of our commitment to the success of Latinx students. I can go on and on about the dynamic, impactful, and intentional work of Grand Valley, but let me please focus on Blue Dot, the place where technology, transformation, and talent intersect. As you know, technology, and you heard from our previous presenter, I hope to hear a thread in terms of our focus on technology jobs. Technological innovation is fundamentally transforming the world, requiring all of our institutions of learning to update their courses of study, spatial layouts, enterprise relationships to align with the skills required for this new world. Business and industries are transforming with the evolution of this technology, big data, AI, but they face insufficient numbers of skilled workers to meet these needs. Here in Michigan, Grand Valley intends to become the premier intersection for the necessary convergence of talent, transformation, and technology by establishing Blue Dot, a place where teaching, learning, innovation, research, and discovery will happen. Blue Dot will feature technology-rich environments, flexible learning spaces, Here's a pretty picture, so you can see that while I'm talking. Flexible learning spaces and transdisciplinary innovation centers. We will invite business and the community to bring forward their transformation and talent challenges, and we, with our students and our faculty, will meet solutions for those challenges. Blue Dot will provide a home for expansion of our existing computer science programs and grow our Applied Computing Institute. And these programs will build competencies in computing, data science, cybersecurity, machine learning, AI, the list goes on and on. There's a few examples I'll read quickly with regard to what types of spaces will be at Blue Dot. This will include 3D fabrication labs, research and design studios designed to bring faculty, students, and the community together, an emerging technology hub, global classrooms where our students and our community can learn from big idea thinkers from across the globe, sim labs and visualization spaces, startup and community partner space will be at the fore. There are three major areas of focus for Blue Dot. First is the digital skill enhancement across all programs and majors, and I believe this is the most unique part of the Blue Dot. No matter what the major or degree pathway for the Grand Valley learner is, we know they need enhanced digital skills to meet the expectations of today's workforce, and therefore faculty from every department will integrate the resources and the learnings of Blue Dot in technology into their courseworks. Business and industry will inform and transform our coursework to design the solutions to meet their talent tech challenges. Next, we will expand the number of graduates with deep technical computing, data, AI-related expertise. The Blue Dot will be the home for computer science, data science, and other degrees that come to the intersection of computing, technology, business, and the humanities. Based on what we hear every day from our industry partners, we know that the profile of the graduates coming out of the Blue Dot space will be a perfect fit for the jobs of the future. Finally, expanding the applied research and business supports through increased synergies between Grand Valley, startup organizations, entrepreneurs, corporate and community partners. The key DNA in Blue Dot is its ability to create a hands-on experiential learning for our community. Blue Dot, there will be places and spaces for teams to work together, innovating new technology, and building and creating spaces where they can find other big thinkers. Remember, Grand Valley was built by the community and for the community, and today our community needs a place to co-design the educational pathways and connect our students to the tech talent they need to transform business. Let me pause on that just for a moment. Every conversation from every economic development expert, every CEO, every small business owner is about what? Talent. But not just any talent. Today and tomorrow's talent needs to be fluent in the skills and competencies of the future, and we know digital literacy and technology skills are critical. Our state needs, and at Grand Valley, we are building the talent for the knowledge-based economy with a focus on the new skills our partners in growth sectors are telling us they need. Blue Dot is where the development of that talent takes root and will flourish. Now let me tell you just a little bit about the actual building. I'm more excited about the why than the bricks and mortar, quite frankly, but Blue Dot is going to transform an existing building on the campus at Grand Valley, which hopefully many of you have been to, called the Eberhard Center. This is a 25-year-old iconic building on our Pew campus in downtown Grand Rapids. The building is structurally sound, fully utilized, and functional. However, a facilities condition assessment that we completed a few years ago identified necessary asset replacement and improvements that total over $30 million that need to be done within the next several years. Building systems in this facility have reached or exceeded their useful life, and the space no longer meets the needs of the academic programming for the future. Therefore, siting Blue Dot at this place, a beacon in Grand Rapids, and at the center of the economic and community development of West Michigan just makes good sense. The existing building is a 10-story building. You can kind of see it on the left there of that rendering. Right now, it is 160,000 square feet. Our project will include the demolition of some of that building and an increase with an addition that could look something like the rendering there, increasing the total building space to 175,000 square feet. Grand Valley will implement LEED sustainable design principles for this project. We always strive to achieve a balance between creating an environmentally responsible building, concentrating on sustainable sites, energy performance, material and resource, environmental quality, while making sure that we're being fiscally responsible and stewarding public funds. The balance will be achieved in this building. Thank you for your attention. I hope you share my enthusiasm for this project. I appreciate if there are any questions.
Yes, Senator Huizenga.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Ms. Bueller, for your presentation today. Can you talk a little bit about how technology is used right now at Grand Valley and how that integrates with industry in West Michigan as well as around our state, and what kind of results we see from that?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question, Senator. I can give you one example of where we created a beautiful technologically advanced space partnership with industry, growing and meeting the needs in the tech space, and it's in healthcare. So we recently opened a new integrated sciences and health building where we have a state-of-the-art simulation lab, and part of that was the reason we were able to partner with Corewell Health and the creation of the Corewell Scholars. This is a 4-year commitment between Corewell and Grand Valley to provide scholarship and access to students, and immediately they receive a position at Corewell as a nurse. So we've taken a state-of-the-art technologically advanced building, created a pipeline for an emerging and really necessary need with Corewell and nursing, and frankly now we have an enormous waiting list. What I'm excited about with that too is that in negotiation with Corewell, we encourage them to go to other institutions of higher learning to replicate this program, and several months later, they did the same kind of partnership with Oakland University to continue to build out the needs they have in Southeast Michigan as well.
Thank you very much.
Rep. Steele?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a real quick question about your enrollment. I know that some of the state colleges have declining enrollment, and just want to make sure that there's a return on the investment for future students in the state of Michigan. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. And a prevailing narrative across the country is enrollment. At Grand Valley, our enrollment has stabilized, and we are working very diligently at reaching returning students, people who have stopped out, adult learners. And so you'll see the growth in our, right now, our early enrollment numbers for the fall of 23-24 show an increase over last year. And a lot of it is around adult learners coming back to finish their degrees or to receive certifications, digital literacy as being one example of that.
Thank you so much for your time and your presentation. Grateful for you. Now we will hear from Dr. Beverly Walker Grafia. Please do correct my pronunciation when you come up to the mic. President, and Dale Wyhill, Associate Vice President of Institutional Advancement of Mott Community College. And if you could introduce anyone else who's joining you at the mics, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Chair Price and Chair McDonald-Rivet, for inviting us to be here today. We're very happy to have this opportunity to tell you about the great things that are happening at Mott Community College. I am Dr. Beverly Walker Grafia, President of Mott Community College. I have with me a dual enrolled student, Aiden fiscally, and we've been practicing that fiscally, so I had to pause. And we also have one of our faculty members here as well, Professor Robert Bernard. And so they will be joining with the presentation, but I'm also happy to have our Vice President for Institutional Advancement, Mr. Dale Wyhill. So we'd like to start with talking about Mott Community College and our history. We are a main campus in Flint, but we have extension sites in Clio, Fenton, and Lapeer. We also have an office outside the Michigan Works facility in Shiawassee County and a very modern culinary arts institute in downtown Flint, as well as a workforce and economic development division just north of our city center. We have 8,300 credit students and about 2,100 non-credit students. We also have 64 students in our Second Chance Pell program, which is located inside the Thumb Regional Correctional Facility. We offer more than 100 academic and non-credit programs, and we believe that we are the engine of economic growth and development for our region and the state. Our student body and geography are extraordinarily diverse. We cover urban, suburban, exurban, and rural communities, drawing substantial numbers of students who are white, Black, and Hispanic. Like many community colleges, our student body is majority female and attending part-time. Like many other colleges, community colleges, we have a sizable number of our students who are first generation and low income, with 43% of our student body eligible for federal Pell funding. The average age of a Mott student is 26 years old. Mott remains committed through both its board-adopted institutional priorities and its official strategic plan to becoming the leader among community colleges in this nation in advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we're also happy to celebrate 100 years of our existence as of September 23rd, 2023, and we have been having a lot of different types of events really sharing our story. Over the 10 decades, we have stood with our community during tremendous boom and also during economic depression, recession, and deindustrialization. We've been a beacon of opportunity for lots and lots of new groups of people that have chosen to attend college, whether it be women, African Americans, Hispanics, Native Americans, disabled, LGBTQIA. Our community has been able to exist and be sustained because of the work of Mott Community College. We have evolved as our community, our state, the nation, and our world have evolved, always representing hope for a better future and improved quality of life for the tens of thousands of individuals who come through our doors, and they've literally come through Mott Community College's doors. Since our founding, we've been recognized nationally as one of America's top community colleges, having been designated as such by the Aspen Institute 5 separate times for our excellence in student success. We are extremely proud of our long history as an indispensable anchor institution, a stable foundation, and a safe haven for so many of our communities that we serve, from our auto workers who seek to skill up, to the farmers who are looking to become an entrepreneur, to the dual-enrolled high school student who is striving to get a head start on college, to the 35-year-old single mom looking to chart a new course. MCC, Mott Community College, serves everybody, everywhere. We are truly living up to our theme, changing lives for a changing world. So as we segue into what we are moving into the future with, I'd like to introduce you to our Prahl College Center renovation. We are changing our Prahl College Center into the Prahl Innovation Center. It is going to build upon Mott's storied history and position MCC to serve an increasingly diverse and widespread student body, while also retrofitting, modernizing, and dramatically improving the educational impact of a 52-year structure that is at the heart of our main campus. The plan for the Prahl Innovation Center is to completely gut and repurpose the existing building's interior spaces. The exterior building, or the building was actually built in 1971 and was dedicated at that time in the name of a longtime MCC employee and alumna, Marie Prahl, who said, When we do something, we need to always ask ourselves, what is going to be the benefit to our students? So this is a perfect place to change from where we've been to where we're going. The new Prawl Innovation Center will include the following components. Level 1, they're going to attract, or we're going to have 4 different components. Level 1 is the upper level of the Prawl Innovation Center, and that will house the new MCC Technology and Cyber Hub. The space will accommodate computer networking, cybersecurity, and computer repair courses. Our Mott IT faculty offices and collaboration spaces will be located there. The Computer IT Service Center will function as an experiential learning laboratory for our students, with our students servicing the outside community as a part of their educational experience. The second floor will also include artificial intelligence and virtual reality lab spaces. Then, our entry level, the first floor of the Prawl Innovation Center, will house the new MCC Virtual Navigation Hub. Again, serving anyone, anywhere, and welcoming the world to Mid-Michigan. We know that the future of education, especially higher education, will be increasingly borderless, with students attending from anywhere, from Ghana, in West Africa, or Greenland in the North Atlantic. Students from Grand Blanc, Goodrich, Gaines Township will be sitting right next virtually to our students around the world. Using the most current technologies like holograms, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, the Prawl Innovation Center's newly redesigned and reconfigured main floor will greet, serve, and create success pathways for new and incoming students from Flint, Genesee County, and of course, well beyond. Crucially, new technologies will allow services and information to be delivered to students in person and virtually with seamlessness and consistency of experience, providing new and current students with ever-improving fairness and equitable treatment. Finally, the lower level of the Prawl Innovation Center will house the new MCC Future Careers Hub. This area will be an environment where learning and practice coincide, connecting our MCC faculty and students with the world's most creative thinkers, entrepreneurs, designers, companies, and nonprofit organizations. The Futures Career Hub will be designed to maximize intellectual strategies, collaborate, and learn by establishing new forms for virtual and in-person idea exchanges, sparking strategic partnerships between academia and industry, connecting students to startups, investors, and other collaborators, providing physical and virtual environments essential to fostering entrepreneurial exploration. Additionally, this portion of the Prawl Innovation Center will feature a constant mix and combination of virtual and in-person visits to MCC by employers that are local, state, national, or even worldwide, seeking to bring on MCC students as graduates. Virtual and in-person internship and employment fairs, and the ability for students to practice their interview and presentation skills using the latest technologies will also be found in this center. Overall, our intention with the design and construction is to go green and to create significant energy efficiencies. So the new Prawl Innovation will include the list of things that you see here. It's going to reuse and repurpose an existing facility. It's going to improve our facility with consideration to reducing the overall carbon footprint. It's going to increase the daylight within the building, and it's going to preserve. So in terms of budget, we estimate, working closely with our project architects, that the total cost of the Prawl Innovation Center will be $32.5 million. the college has secured funding in the amount of $12.5 million from the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation, an additional $650,000 in congressionally directed spending with support from United States Senator Gary Peters, and we're requesting $16.25 million, half of the $32.5 million price tag from the state of Michigan. We are so excited about this project. We think it is a great investment, not just for Mott Community College, but for our region and for this state. In order to really speak more about this, we have brought a student with us, and that is Aiden Fizzackerly, who I said is dual enrolled. He'll be graduating this winter with the cybersecurity and networking degree, so that is just in a couple of weeks. He's actually going to graduate with his MCC degree before he graduates with his diploma from Davidson. He's interning at Mott as well, working in the labs and fixing the hardware, and he's also working on fixing computers and playing video games. So I am going to turn this over to Aiden for his support of this project.
Good afternoon. I'm Aiden Fizzackerly, as Dr. Beverly mentioned, and I'm an MCC student along with an early college student at Davidson High School. And I'm majoring in cybersecurity and networking, and will be graduating this winter with an associate's degree. I'm honored to be here this afternoon to talk about what the plans of the new Prawl Innovation Center mean for the students like me. Even though I will have already been graduated by the time the renovations are completed in 2025, this is really exciting news for the students and the college. Mott students are getting state-of-the-art technology and a new learning environment that will provide them excellent tools and knowledge for preparation for good IT jobs in the future. They also gain industry experience through the Computer Service Center at the new Prawl Center that will provide support service for the students at the college and our community. I would also like to say that the changes of the new Prawl Innovation Center look fantastic, and I look forward to seeing them in the future. Thank you, Dr. Beverly, college leaders, and funders for this great investment for the future of Mott Community College and the students who attend MCC.
Thank you, Aiden, and I want you all to know this is his first time here in the Capitol building, and so we're just honored that he's given us such a great recommendation. We also have, like I said, our MCC professor, Robert Bernard, and he's our information technology professor and coordinator. He coordinates computer networking and cybersecurity, computer information systems, information technology, data analytics, and also teaches software development focusing on business applications. He's not going to speak, but if you have questions that I can't answer, I got my posse here. So that concludes our presentation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming and providing all the experts from your college as well. So any questions from, Rep. O'Neill, yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Dr. Beverly and your team. Thank you. Very nice presentation. You mentioned Thumb Regional Correction Center. What type of services do you provide to those individuals, or can you explain a little bit about that?
Yes, for the last several years, we participated in a pilot program by the federal government to allow students to earn a degree while receiving a Pell Grant while they are incarcerated. We have worked very diligently with that. We have offered business types of programming to them, and we also have the support services, and actually we have a club there as well. The first NSDS, which is our National Leadership Program, is happening there as well. The first one to be offered in a institution like that. So. The federal government has found that it has been very beneficial, and this year they have now moved from pilot to actually instituting persons that are incarcerated to be able to have the Pell Grant and to earn degrees using that.
Chair, thank you very much for that information.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming and providing testimony to us today. We're very
Thank you,
grateful for all you do
Representative
for your region and our
Thank you so
state.
much.
Thank you. All right, we will proceed to our next presentation from Saginaw Valley State University. Presenting today, we have Dr. George Grant Jr., President, Dr. Andrew Chubb, Dean, College of Science, Engineering, and Technology, and Dr. David Karpovich, H.H. Dow Endowed Chair of Chemistry and Director of the Saginaw Bay Environmental Sciences Institute. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Madam Chairwoman, and to the members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I am the new president, of Saginaw Valley. Started January 1, and here with my colleagues to talk about our Lake Huron Environmental Science Research Center. Just briefly, Saginaw Valley is a regional comprehensive public university in the Great Lakes region, and we comprise Midland, Bay, and Saginaw counties. There's about 600 businesses in the area that we work with and our graduates go to after graduation. We have about 7,000 students and over 90 academic programs, and we also offer about 33 of the current hottest 50 jobs in Michigan. A couple of things that are important and excited about is our College of Education has the third highest pass rate, and the College of Health and Human Services and our nursing program has a 92% first-time pass rate, which is 12% higher than the national average and 13% higher than the statewide average. So today, we are here to talk about the Lake Huron Environmental Science Research Station. A couple of things that are really important to us about that is that it will not only provide opportunities for our students and our faculty, but it will also be a place where K through 12 students will have the opportunity to learn about the field of STEM and science and the impact that it can have, and will also be an opportunity for teachers in K through 12 to not only work with students in the field, but to learn as well. And so with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Andrew Chubb.
Thank you, Dr. Grant. As President Grant mentioned, my name is Andrew Chubb, and I serve as the Dean of the College of Science, Engineering, and Technology at SVSU. As the Dean, I'm very proud of our faculty and the programs that they lead, programs like the Saginaw Bay Environmental Science Institute. So why SVSU for this type of program? One reason is because of our location, which is less than 15 miles from Lake Huron. SVSU is one of only 5 public institutions, public universities in Michigan that is located within that distance of one of the Great Lakes. Another reason is our college has a core group of dedicated faculty, like Dr. Karpovich, who have experience with environmental research. The final reason is that this type of program is very important, not just to SVSU, but also to our community and to our state. The Saginaw Bay watershed is the largest watershed in Michigan and the second largest in the Great Lakes Basin. It is important to study this ecosystem because the area is home to over 1.4 million people and contributes extensive agricultural and industrial resources in support of Michigan's economy. The watershed is home to over 138 endangered and threatened species, features a world-class fishery, and is a stopover for migratory birds on the Mississippi Flyway. Its importance reaches far beyond its borders and Lake Huron. It is a globally important ecosystem on par with the Everglades and the Amazon rainforest. SVSU's proximity to the Saginaw Bay means that we are ideally situated within this watershed to make firsthand, real-time observations of this vital ecosystem and to monitor its health. The Saginaw Bay Environmental Science Institute, led by SVSU faculty and supported by internal funding, was established in 2013 to focus on research that directly impacts the restoration of Saginaw Bay and demonstrates SVSU's commitment to supporting this work. Its formation came about organically as a group of researchers from different departments and from different colleges came together to collaborate on the environmental research that they were already doing. This collaborative spirit remains an essential part of the Institute, which has provided extensive and intensive experiential learning in the form of Saginaw Bay research for many SVSU students and high school student interns, while attracting leading scientists from around Michigan and beyond. Since its inception, the scope of the Institute has expanded to the greater watershed. Accordingly, we need a much larger space for our research, a location with direct access to the watershed, and spaces for expanding our K-12 educational outreach, undergraduate and graduate coursework, and facilities for continuing the attraction of leading scientists from around the country. Hence, we are here today asking for funding to expand the operations of this very successful institute into the Lake Huron Environmental Science Research Station. To speak more about the expansion of programs and the positive impact from this research station is Dr. David Karpovich.
Thank you, Andrew. My name is David Karpovich, and I serve as the H.H. Dow Endowed Professor of Chemistry and the Director of the Saginaw Bay Environmental Science Institute, or SBESI. I'm excited to be here to testify for funding to expand upon the positive impact we have made so far in our region and the state of Michigan. Over the past 10 years, the SBESI's research efforts have attracted millions of dollars in external funding from state and federal agencies as well as private foundations. This research has resulted in several major outcomes, including state-of-the-art beach bacteria monitoring and the formation of the Saginaw Bay Monitoring Consortium, the first coordinated long-term water quality program in the Saginaw Bay watershed. It is fully funded by the EPA with Great Lakes Restoration Initiative funds, and it is a collaborative effort. Since 2014, the Dow Science and Sustainability Education Center at SVSU, or Dow SSEC, has connected SVSU faculty and students with area teachers and high school students through its summer research internship program. There have been over 230 participants to date. In addition, another estimated 9,000 high school students have been indirectly impacted by that program from teachers taking their experiences back to the classroom. In 2016, in collaboration with Dow, the SVSU Mobile Research Lab began service as a research and outreach vehicle. It has reached an estimated 19,000 visitors, mostly K-12, while also facilitating water quality research with our undergraduate students as part of the Dow SSEC at SVSU. Now, in 2023, SVSU is again collaborating with Dow to develop the Lake Huron Environmental Science Research Station. This station will allow SVSU to expand our research capabilities, which will greatly benefit our students and the region. It will also help leverage additional funding from state and federal agencies, as well as private foundations. The enhanced access to Saginaw Bay will enable us to drastically scale up our K-12 outreach through the Dow SSEC program, and the improved experiential learning opportunities will better prepare our undergraduate students for employment and research positions upon graduation. At SVSU, we are equipping the next generation of scientists to solve environmental challenges and to develop solutions that use Michigan's unique resources in a sustainable manner. We are collaborative rather than competitive. Accordingly, we have brought together a long list of agencies, organizations, and institutions who have worked with us. Our strong collaborations benefit our students and the region. The Lake Huron Environmental Science Research Station will provide enhanced physical access to the resource, enable better real-time observation capabilities, and will serve as a research destination for students and scientists. It will also welcome a broader audience of citizen scientists, resource managers, K-12 students with opportunities to learn about and participate in Saginaw Bay and Great Lakes restoration efforts. Finally, this facility will be the first university-operated environmental science research station on Lake Huron. The SBESI has made a large impact in our region and our state over the past 10 years. We look forward to your support to grow our impact through the Lake Huron Environmental Science Research Station.
And in closing, I just want to acknowledge that we have a lot of community support, and so just a few people are the Bay Area Chamber of Commerce, the Midland Business Alliance, and the Saginaw County Chamber of Commerce, along with Dow. And we appreciate you taking the time to listen to us today. At Saginaw Valley, we're proud of our 60-year history of providing quality education, of being concerned and involved in the community, and working to make a difference. We believe that there's a renaissance coming in this state and that we're proud to be part of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for presenting your project. Questions from committee members? Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you again for all that you're doing for your region and our state. Grateful for you. All right. Let's see. Senator Irwin moves to excuse absent members without objection. So ordered. And there being no further business today, the subcommittee will stand adjourned.